cinema per suscitare ciò che deve suscitare, emozioni, sentimenti, ragionamenti, e questo dimostra che il cinema è ancora vivo al di fuori della televisione, al di fuori della televisione, caro Italo, in una sala cinematografica, ma io ascolto in silenzio.
Il maestro.
Benvenuti alla conferenza stampa di Inland Empire. È con noi anche il direttore, questa volta Marco Müller, perché come sapete David Lynch è premiato con il Leone d'Oro alla carriera, quindi il direttore ci dirà qualche cosa a questo proposito. Tanto ringraziamo i nostri ospiti di essere qui. Dalla vostra sinistra Justin Theroux. Laura Dern. And Mr. Lynch.
Hi, David. This is Stephen Schaefer, Boston Herald, for David Lynch. Congratulations on the Lifetime Achievement Award here. Inland Empire is a 3-hour dreamscape epic.
Diciamo che questo film è un film.
What's it all about?
It's supposed to make perfect sense.
Hello, Andraž Gombač, Slovenia newspaper Primorske novice. Mr. Lynch, it would be interesting to hear this from you since you come from that not very long line of artists who rather make rules than obey them. I would like to ask you this. On this year's Mostra there are many politically engaged movies, and their directors, as Oliver Stone, Emilio Estevez, and Alfonso Cuarón, they are all saying that we live in a very dark age, and that, I don't know, that the era of healing is coming, you know, and that the human spirit must recover. And they are saying also that the movies can play a big part in this healing. I just wonder, what do you think about this?
I think very good times are coming, and films play a small part.
Hello, Helen Barlow from Australia. Mr. Lynch, I noticed at the end, in the end credits, there's a song that you sing. I was wondering which one it is and if you could possibly sing it for us today. And secondly, the music, your Lost Highway soundtrack is the only soundtrack I've ever actually paid for. I'm hoping to get a free one for this one, of course. But I'm just wondering how you made this one different to previous soundtracks. It has got that Lynchian style. It's one of the signature things about your work. Could you talk about that, please?
I sing Ghost of Love and Walking on the Sky, and I'm not a singer. I use a lot of electronic things. But I love music, and I have a studio, and I got the studio built to experiment with sound and music. So it's very important, and that's where we mix the film as well. To be able to experiment in a studio, what you're paying for is, you know, you've got to be very wealthy, because experimenting takes a long time. So cinema to me is sound and picture rolling along together in time. And it's so important, the sound, how it goes with the picture, how it marries. And I think that this dubbing of pictures has got to end. If better times are truly coming, dubbing will go away, because it ruins the picture. Completely and totally ruins the picture. So subtitles leave the soundtrack alone and go with subtitles. It would be very, very beautiful.
Good morning, Mr. Lynch.
Oh.
I have already made my own movie with your images I have seen this morning, but I was wondering if Hitchcock could fit in some way in the organization of your movie, if his theory about a mystery movie could fit in some way in your movie. And for Laura Dern, I would like to know from her, how was it to act in this movie and which kind of direction she had from David Lynch? Thank you.
Hitchcock, they say, was the master of suspense and mystery. I think mystery, the unknown, is something that I love. I love going into a world and not knowing what's coming. I love it when the lights go down and the curtain opens and we get to enter a new world. There's got to be 100 years of cinema, so there's obviously room for Hitchcock and many other people in films. I give it over to Laura.
So my experience on this film was very unique, to say the least. Even within working with David now for a long time, in that we worked over the course of about 2.5 years. And each day was a different direction, each day was a different idea, because we did not have a script we were following. So it was a... Scene by scene. Yeah, scene by scene we had scripts. David just wants you to know, that's how I was directed each day. He would tell me what to say and do, and I would repeat. But I would say that what was extraordinary for me about this experience, amongst other things, was coming each day to discover the film, the character, and David's feelings at that moment, because everything was unique.
Hi, Jan Lumholt from Svenska Dagbladet in Sweden. I have a question for the three of you, and please try to answer a little bit more elaboration on the sense, so to speak, of the film. How would you recommend that someone who hadn't seen the film prepare for it? What should we bring into the cinema? What kind of how would one best prepare for this film? Mr. Lynch, start.
Every film, I think, is, as I said, going into a new world, going into the unknown. But you should be not afraid of using your intuition and think your way through. Have the experience and trust your inner knowing of what it is. As cinema is such a beautiful language, and all of you you want to go back into, you have the gift of words. But cinema is a thing that deals with things beyond words, and it's so beautiful. And so to go with cinema is to go like the same kind of thing you go with music. But the intellect travels along with it. It's so fantastic. It talks to you, but not with words alone. So just go in open, and just go in and have an experience in a different world. By the way, you have a great voice.
I would say something very similar to David, which is I actually went at 8:30 this morning for the first time with the rest of you, and I thought that was actually a great way to see it, was after just waking up when your day hasn't even happened yet. But every movie I've seen of David, both before I knew him and now, I've always thought of it as sort of, you know, buying like a new jazz record or something that you just you either listen to it or view it in much the same way. And the best way, I think, is just to let the film wash over you and not. And I think when I've made David's films problematic for myself is when I've tried to construct them or deconstruct them as they were happening. Much better to just sort of sit back and go on that ride, I think.
All said so eloquently. I don't know that there's anything more to add except to say from my own experience, this film was very much what they just described, in that all of us like you, being the actors on the film, were experiencing David's vision for the first time, because there wasn't a laid out linear script or plan from the onset. I think the film rolled over us, and our experience of it was very much the same as yours, which is just allowing it to be and discovering it for the first time when we see it for the first time.
I have a brief, short question for Mr. Lynch as well. It's about the end credit sequence, which is after 180 minutes, not as it says in the program, 172 minutes. You decide to have a story going on until the very last 24th of a second of the film. Was that a conscious, creative decision?
Yes.
Please elaborate a little.
Every single, I said it this morning, you know, it's a thing wants to be a certain way, and it's sometimes a struggle, a long struggle, to get it to all be the way it feels correct. So that sequence came about somewhere during the shooting as an ending sequence, and it grew out of what had gone before. It felt correct.
Okay. Hello, I'm Christopher Kwiatkowski from Polish Daily Warsaw Live. I'm wondering, why did you choose Poland? Why did you shot a huge part of film in Poland, and what did Polish actors give to you? Thank you.
I met a group of people, a camera image gang, who put on a film festival each year in Poland, in Łódź, Poland, and they become my good friends. And visiting them once in December, I asked if I could maybe shoot a scene in Łódź. And no sooner had I got the sentence out that they were asking me all kinds of questions. I wrote a scene. They found the location. They dressed the location. They found actors who came down from Warsaw. They found actors in Łódź. And the scene was printed out in the morning, translated by another gentleman, part of the group, and we were shooting that evening. So they're a great bunch. And Poland started figuring into this film. And there's Piotrek, Peter Lucas, who I met on that same visit, I was looking at him at breakfast, and I wondered if he was going to be Laura Dern's husband. And how could this be that we started this over in Los Angeles, but here's this gentleman sitting there and this possibility of a scene, and he became Laura Dern's husband and did such a beautiful, beautiful job. And I don't know how to pronounce Karolina and Krzysztof's last names, but two other great actors, Karolina Gruszka and Krzysztof. Do you know Krzysztof's last name? Please say it loud. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful work both of them did in the film. And I'm so happy that I went the first time to this festival and have been to Poland, 5 or 6 times since. So happy to have met all of them.
Hello, Mr. Lynch. Hi.
Yes.
My all-time favorite TV show over here. Yeah. My all-time favorite TV show is Twin Peaks, even though I still get nightmares about it. And I was wondering if you could share your thoughts on the pop cultural phenomenon that Twin Peaks is even 15 years later. And do you have any desire to work for TV again? Thank you.
I don't understand things like, there was no real logical reason why it was a success all around the world, but it just turned out to be that way. And there are a lot of TV shows that they're followers of old shows and still love them, and there's groups that they form groups, and it's interesting. I have zero desire to go back into TV.
Mr. Lynch, Hugh Davis from the Daily Telegraph. Could you explain the presence of the 3 rabbits, particularly the one in pink doing the ironing?
I don't have the microphone. No, I can't explain that.
Yeah, Mr. Lynch. John Sellers from Norway. I even heard a Norwegian sentence there. All of a sudden, I don't know why. Norwegian photographer, perhaps. But I have to ask with a certain concern after seeing this film, how are you these days?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing really well.
Buongiorno, from Italy.
You're going to speak?
I speak very bad English. I won't speak in Italian.
Ok.
Una domanda breve che ne contiene 2. Allora, Lou Reed dice che il rock and roll gli ha salvato la vita. Volevo sapere lei cosa ne pensa e se si può fare un parallelo con il cinema. E poi volevo sapere, io negli anni '80 sono andata a Firenze a vedere una mostra dei quadri suoi, di cui ancora conservo il catalogo. Vorrei sapere se lei continua a fare quadri e se non li fa più, se questo gli manca. Grazie.
I still paint. I love painting, and I got into film through painting. Film doesn't really save your life, but it's the most enjoyable thing to go into another world and to discover it and make films. It's so beautiful.
Buongiorno, sono qua giù. Buongiorno, grazie per il film che è bellissimo. E rapidamente la domanda. Mi interessava sapere perché come tipo di atmosfera, forse quella che più ci inquieta sono le risatine e il modo di parlare all'inizio della donna che prevede il futuro, che sembra quasi seguire un certo ritmo televisivo di, non so, si chiamano soap opera o qualcosa, quelle con la gente che ride fuori dallo schermo. Mi interessava perché lei ha deciso di usarle in quella casa con i 3 uomini con le teste d'animali e continuamente un po' giocare su questi ritmi con le voci. Grazie.
I don't know. I really would like to be able to explain, but the film ends up being the explanation. That's what's so terrible about the press conferences. It's all about the film, not about the words. And every voice is like an instrument. And you know, you could have the same scene and the voices could be less air in between or more air in between, and you would, by working away a little bit, they would come to where they are. It's like, it's very much like music. The voice is a musical instrument, and what they say is also very important, but how they say it. It's what you say and how you say it. And it's a feel, and everybody has their own feel, so I use, you know, my feel. And Laura and Justin, we work together we've worked together before, you know, and you get a shorthand when you work with people, even if you haven't worked with them before. Quickly you develop a shorthand, and just by a few words and maybe some little gesture or a kind of code words, we communicate in a funny sort of way. And it's all about finding that one correct path so it feels correct as you go. And when we get it, we all realize we got it. It's just the way it is.
Salve, sono Andrea Monti di Film. I complimenti gliel'ho già fatti prima, volevo sapere una cosa alla quale vorrei che rispondesse in maniera precisa. Alla fine del film lei manda dei baci. I baci sono per noi, per il pubblico, per chi ha capito e per chi non ha capito. Vorrei che fosse preciso se è proprio per noi o se il simbolo è un altro.
Those kisses are for you specifically.
I'd like to talk in Italian, if possible. Allora, nel film che ho visto io stamattina, quello che ci ho letto io, mi sembra una visione molto disperata del cinema contemporaneo, in ogni caso di quello che si fa a Hollywood. Lei ci chiude in questa spirale di storie con gli stessi personaggi nel tempo, nel presente, nel passato, che sia televisione, che sia cinema o che sia vita vera, sono sempre le stesse storie, gli stessi personaggi. Ecco, malgrado questo lato che mi sembra molto nero, mi sembra che la nota di speranza, e spero che anche per lei positiva, se questo è il messaggio positivo del film, è che lei ha innovato in maniera incredibile utilizzando la video. È incredibile quello che è riuscito a fare rispetto al montaggio, rispetto veramente alla texture, alla materia del film e al modo, insomma, in cui ce l'ha dato così, anche, insomma, in una dimensione sperimentale. Ecco.
Thank you. There was no question.
Is it true that it has a positive?
Yes, it has a positive side for sure. For sure. I hope that you felt it.
Io vorrei aggiungere una domanda per Justin Theroux. Please, translation. Miss Dern ci ha detto qualche cosa di come avveniva il suo lavoro sul set e come riceveva giorno per giorno delle pagine di sceneggiatura. Suppongo che il metodo fosse lo stesso, però vorrei sentire come l'ha vissuto anche Justin Theroux. E poi, visto che ha appena finito di girare un film, si può sopravvivere a David Lynch o si rimane comunque condizionato a un rapporto dal quale non ci si potrà più staccare? Quanto ha influenzato questa esperienza doppia con Lynch nel suo lavoro di regista?
I think working with David has had a huge imprint on me artistically, only in that David very rarely says no to things when they arise on set, creative things or creative decisions. And it's probably one of the most valuable lessons that I've had. As far as working with him on this film, he again, going to work was just so much fun because, and I was actually saying this to David after the film, the working on the film and the seeing of the film are complete opposite experiences, always, for the two films that I've done with him. There's something very liberating about working with him because he, as much as you, wants to discover what's going to happen when we start work at the beginning of the day. And so you come in with no preconceived notions about how the day is going to go. And it's oftentimes the most gratifying work experiences, days that at work that I've ever had. Whereas a lot of other films, the director has a much more specific intention for what they want you to do. David is just very good about sort of massaging the scenes and all the elements that go with it, and letting things happen, I guess.
Io? Volevo...
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of. Sean Lynch, no. Possiamo applicare a questo film un famoso detto di Pasolini: la verità non sta in un solo sogno, ma in tanti sogni. E in questo senso il cinema al giorno d'oggi è l'unico mezzo per poter descrivere queste molteplici verità del giorno d'oggi, e in questo senso è il fatto positivo che io vedo nel film.
Yes, a beautiful sentence.
Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Lynch. The film is wonderful. It looks to me like a big puzzle with a lot of acts that all fits together. So I would like to know if you shooted the film the same way we saw the film, or you feel free to shoot it in different moments. And if so, I would like to know from Laura Dan if it was difficult to act in a film with this plot so unconnected sometimes.
I shot completely out of order, never in the beginning knowing what it was. And it started in the strangest way. And I know that some of you know that modern science has discovered and verified the existence of the unified field at the base of all matter and mind. So in that, knowing that there's a unified field, we all are united at that deepest level. Why can't one idea unite with another idea and another idea? And it would drive me crazy in the beginning. But all scripts, all original scripts start this way. You might get an idea for a scene at the beginning, and then you'll get an idea of scene 2/3 the way through, an idea halfway through. And one day, it all kind of comes together and a story reveals itself. And it may be an abstract story, or it may be a very surface, concrete story. But it goes like that in a script. But this was like that in the shooting, scene by scene. And like I said, in the beginning, not knowing. And then little by little by little, it started revealing itself. Tell the truth now.
Can I? You told me I could tell the truth. The truth is, I didn't know who I was playing, and I still don't know who I played. And I look forward to seeing the film tonight to learn more. But as you know more than me, I haven't seen the film finished in the state you've all seen it, and I will tonight. But you know, there are several different characters that become one in their own way, and so because it was done as a discovery along the way, I too was on the journey that David took me on, not knowing where we were turning next or what I as a character was going to do next or feel next or who I might become next.
But we would talk and talk and talk.
But we would talk and talk and talk.
And I think you all would agree that Laura Dern does something, at least in my mind, that I have never seen one actress go through so many beautiful changes and nail so many incredible moments in one film. I think she's just totally amazing. I love working with her.
I think David's the bee's knees too.
I'm Eric Lyman from The Hollywood Reporter. Just like to get your thoughts about receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award, and also some assurance from you that getting this award doesn't mean you're finished making films.
That's very nice. I think I said this, before, but I say that film festivals celebrate cinema, and it's so important that there are film festivals, and a great film festival like here in Venice has such a beautiful history. So many great people have passed through this festival. So it's a huge honor. I'm really honored to get this award, and it's strange. Just yesterday, I was 19, and now I'm getting this award today.
Lee Marshall from Screen International. Just a couple of technical points I wanted to ask. I noticed in the festival catalogue there was a music credit for Angelo Badalamenti, who I know you very often work with, but I didn't notice that on the actual the final credits of the film. And the other one is, can you tell me who voiced the rabbits? I think I saw Naomi Watts was one of them, but...
Hello. Naomi Watts, Laura Elena Herring, and Scott Coffey did the voices. And Angelo played a string part, but I don't think he wants a credit for what he did.
Mr. Lynch, another masterpiece, as usual, we are used to.
I love this man.
I saw, maybe it was only my impression, I saw in Inland Empire a feeling more of auto-ironic, more detached from the material that in the past. Maybe it was my impression, but perhaps it's a way to detach from a strongest start that may alter the perception of reality. Sometimes when I walk around and I see red curtains, I'm almost frightened because I watch too many times your movies, probably. And the second, very brief, if I can, I saw in Mulholland Drive before, and now in this one, you use the technique of a character, Laura Dern in particular, watching herself from the outside. And it's a thing that reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey, when at the end Keir Dullea watches himself as an old man, as a young man. Maybe, I don't know, a coincidence or kind of homage to Kubrick, I don't know. Thanks.
Thank you. I know exactly what you're talking about. The thing that you cut to next can be so surprising, and it's just the miracle of cinema. How we go from one place to another, and where the possibilities of those places to go to are kind of infinite. And how we can kind of see ourselves and find ourselves in there, that's what kind of gets me going.
Prima di dare la parola per l'ultima domanda al signore Lee, mi si chiede di dire che il film in Italia verrà distribuito da BIM Distribuzione, ma solo nel primo semestre dell'anno prossimo. Prego.
Laura, you mentioned... Laura, here I am. You mentioned this was 2.5 years, and David, you mentioned you started in Los Angeles, you filmed in Poland. What was the actual way you made this movie? And, I mean, was it stop and start, and did you have months where you were taking breaks or whatever? And also, as we walked out, people wondered, would David Lynch ever make a more conventional movie with a story the way maybe Wild at Heart was? Again.
Yes, it was start and stop, and sometimes many months in between, but then a lot of times it was, we were on a roll, and there was many ideas scripted. So toward the end it got more known, and we were able to, work more continuously.
Oh, I would love to add with so much gratitude how much I loved your question. Having been sharing a dais with David a few times before, and always considering him such a brave and bold artist ahead of the curve, may I point out my immense joy when you asked if David ever would do a more conventional film like Wild at Heart. That is what I love about having the privilege of working with this man. Remembering a day when we sat at a table like this and people were like, what? Oh my God, what? So life is good.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Grazie di essere intervenuti, grazie ai nostri ospiti, Justin Theroux, Laura Dern, David Lynch.
Let me sign a couple. Okay.